Friends, we have studied various types of transducers, especially the actuators and sensors. Today we will discuss dielectric elastomers, one of the very important type of actuators. Now, what are dielectric elastomers? They are electromechanical transducers that convert or transduce electrical energy to or from mechanical energy. That means in an actuator mode, dielectric elastomers convert electrical energy to the mechanical energy. In the generator mode, they convert mechanical energy to the electrical energy. That is the reverse function. Transducers that convert electrical to mechanical energy are actuators, but dielectric elastomers can do conversion of mechanical energy to electrical energy also. Now, what are the properties of these materials? They have very large elongation strain, about 120 to 380%. So you know the metals or cross-linked polymers, the elongation strength is about only 1%. Above that, they deform permanently, which cannot be recovered back. Therefore, it is a very large elongation strain. They have large stress, they can withstand very large stresses of about 3.2 megapascals. They have high specific elastic energy density, 3.4 joule per gram. Very high speed response, about millisecond. They can respond very quickly. High peak strain rate, about 34,000% per second. They transform electrical energy directly into mechanical work and produce large strains. Their actuators are composed primarily of thin passive elastomer film with the two compliant electrodes on the surfaces exhibiting a typical capacitor configuration. Why compliant electrodes? I will explain it later. The elastomers used in actuator applications is incompressible. Poisson ratio is about 0.5 and viscoelastic, which consequently exhibit time or frequency dependent characteristics that could be represented by stress relaxation, creep and dynamical mechanical phenomenon under stress and deformed states. You can see a typical capacitor like structure over here. Here you have a polymer sandwiched between two electrodes. These electrodes not only supply electrical energy but also expand or contrast according to the changes happening in the polymer. Therefore, they are called compliant electrodes. You can see charges over here, how the charges are stored in the other direction. Say this is before application of the field, this is after application of the field. You can see an elongation in the size of the polymers that give rise to compression or expansion in the material. You can see the charges are increased that show that electric field is applied. Therefore, the electrodes should respond according to the responses of the polymer film. That was explained in this uh, slide. Here as we say, thus the electrodes in the dielectric elastomer transducer are compliant with the level of compliance determined by the specific of the dielectric transducer. That means what is the expansion of the transducer, accordingly the electrodes also should undergo expansion or compression. When the electrical voltage is applied to the electrodes, an electrostatic force is generated between the electrodes. The force is compressive and thus the elastomers film expands in the plane direction. You can refer to the material which is given to you, how the energy is stored in the case of elastomers like a capacitor. Please refer to the material. Now, what are the type of materials used for dielectric elastomers? Elastomers are lightly cross-linked polymers. Without cross-linking, the polymer chains have no chemical bonds between the chains, and thus the polymer may flow upon heating over the glass transition temperature. If the polymer is densely cross-linked, the chains cannot flow upon heating, and a large deformation cannot be expected upon stretching. Elastomers are between these two states of molecular conformation. The primary chains of elastomers are cross-linked at some point along the main polymer chains. For example, commercial rubber bands or tires have molecular weights of the order of 10 to the power 5 gram per mole, and cross-linked polymers for cross-linked for every 5 to 10 into 10 to the power of 3 gram per mole, which gives about 10 to 20 cross-links per primary polymer molecule. The average molecular weight between the cross-links is often defined as mc to express the degree of cross-linkage. A raw elastomer is a high molecular weight liquid with low strength. Although its chains are entangled, they readily disentangle upon stressing and finally fracture in viscous flow. Vulcanization or curing is the process where the chains of the raw elastomers are chemically linked together to form a network, subsequently transforming the elastomeric liquid to an elastic solid. Thus, the most widely used vulcanizing agent is sulfur, that is commonly used for diene elastomers such as butadiene rubber, styrene butadiene rubber, acrylic nitrile butadiene rubber, and butyl rubber. Another type of curing agent is peroxides, which are used for saturated elastomers such as ethylene propyl rubber, chlorinated polyethylene, and silicone elastomers. The mechanical behavior of an elastomer depends strongly on cross-link density. When an uncross-linked elastomer is stressed, chains may readily slide past one another and disentangle. As cross-linking is increased further, the gel point is eventually reached, where a complete three-dimensional network is formed. A gel cannot be fractured without breaking chemical bonds. Therefore, the strength is higher at gel point, but it does not increases indefinitely with no cross-linking. The schematic of elastomer's properties is shown as a function of cross-linking density in the figure. You can see cross-linking density and property. For tensile strength, it is a linear. For tear strength is maximum at low cross-link density, whereas modulus of hardness is having Gaussian shaped curve. It uniformly increases with the cross-link density and later it decreases. The other properties of elastomers, especially the bulk modulus, are significantly changed by the cross-link density in most elastomer systems, and thus actuator performance can be adjusted by controlling the degree of elastomer vulcanization. The cross-link density can be adjusted by kinetic variables of vulcanization reactions such as sulfur content, reaction time, reaction temperature, catalyst, etc. Note that the elastomer vulcanization process is not a thermodynamic process but a kinematically controlled process in most of the cases. The elastomers undergo a hysteresis type stress strain curve. You can see here, as the load increases, it goes like this path, that is called a loading path or stretching curve. Once load is removed, the stress is decreased, unloading curve, and you see that it doesn't come back to the origin. This is a hysteresis type of behavior observed by all elastomers. Few materials used for dielectric elastomer applications are listed here. They are dielectric constant at 1 kHz, dielectric loss factor at 1 kHz, Young's modulus, entanglement strengths, breaking stress, and ultimate strain are listed over here. You can go through these materials in your leisure time. What are the applications of this applications of the dielectric elastomers? They are mainly applicable as an artificial muscles. You must be knowing the natural muscles have self repair capability, providing billions of work cycles per second. They can contrast 20% or more. Even contraction speed is about 50% per second. They can withstand about 3.35 megapascals of load, adjustable stiffness and strength they have. Suppose you want to have an artificial material which can replace these natural human muscles, then the dielectric elastomers are the best examples. They can be used for artificial limbs, walls of heart and other parts of the human body because of these very unique applications. Now in this topic, what are the prominent questions? The questions are like this. What are dielectric elastomers? What are their properties? How they are useful? Thank you.